If you only had one day to spend in Tucson, there's a lot you could see. But K&N Pro Series drivers know that tonight, there's only one place to be, and that is the Tucson Speedway. Hey, if you're local and coming out to the Tucson Speedway, tonight's ticket is a good one. Plenty of local racing, finishing up with the K&N Pro Series West, where drivers Haley Deegan and Cassie Gannis are among those trying to catch series leader Derrick Kraus after a season-opening win at Kern County Raceway Park. This is the Port of Tucson Twin 100 race number 1 from the Tucson Speedway. I'm Dave Burns, along with my resident racers, Brandon McReynolds and Derek Thorn, who, by the way, has a checkered flag to boast about in the last couple of weeks. But I'm telling you, it was a lot cooler where he raced, Brandon, than it was here today. 103 for the high and 93 now. What in the world?
I was down in the garage area talking to some of these crew chiefs, and I really hope for their sake a lot of these pit crew members and the drivers are hydrated for these twin 100-lap races. It's going to be very physically demanding around this racetrack that's really shaped like a circle, so you have no time to rest.
No time to rest for the series either. Finally back underway after the first race, Derrick Kraus, the championship leader.
There we see Ryan Partridge in the 5th place in points. Really started off well at Kern County, and I think we're going to see that experience pay off as he's won at this track a few years ago.
So you want to talk about experience? Derrick Thorn has a guy with plenty of it standing by.
Dave, Brandon, welcome to the Tucson Speedway. It's the second stop of the year here at this rough, old, worn-out racetrack, and the young drivers have really started to figure this place out. But what about the veterans of the series? How about this guy? 90-year-old Herschel McGriff is going to make his last start this weekend in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West. He's the 1986 champion, a West Coast legend. And what is going through your mind right now to run this race?
It's been a very busy week, I tell you, and the autograph session here was crazy. And I'm looking forward to the run, and I hope I don't miss too many notes in the anthem. But it's been fun. I got so many people here from all the country that flew in to see me. So and my whole family is here except one son. Cousins and nephews come from all over North Carolina and so forth. So it's a great time for me. My family's always been involved in my racing. I've always worked during the week, but I've never run steady too much for, to win championships and all that. But I've driven Darlington and Daytona and all that kind of stuff, through the years.
In a sport where it's really dominated by the young guys now, what do you think of some of these guys, and how do you think you'll stack up against them tonight?
Well, they're all going faster than me. I've been 6 years I've been in a car. I'm not really comfortable yet. So hopefully after the race gets started, I'll pick it up and maybe keep up with the bunch. But, I won't feel too bad. I don't expect to win. When I was younger, I always expected to win. So, I'm running with several drivers here that I'm 73, 74 years older than they are. Because there's some 16 and 17-year-olds here. So, hey, I'm happy to be here. I get up happy every day. I exercise. I keep care of myself. And I still work some. Have a good job, and I'm just enjoying life.
Well, he gets up, he jogs every day, he goes to the gym, and he works out. We're going to see what Herschel McGriff can do against some of these youngsters here tonight.
And Derrick, on many days, he's already 2 steps ahead of me at age 90. Let's go back to one of his more famous wins at the Portland International Raceway. That was back in 1986. Derek Hope was on the pole in the red and white 79, and later would encounter trouble with the blue and white 29 of George Fulmer. There's another name. Where's Herschel? Well, he found his way to the front. He led the most laps on the day. He traded the lead all day long with Ruben Garcia. And again, at the age of 59, his second of 3 wins on his way to the championship in 1986 in the West Series. By the way, that was just 16 points ahead of one Chad Little, Brandon.
Very cool to see Herschel McGriff coming out here and racing at Tucson tonight. Bill McAnally, we got to give him a round of applause for giving Herschel this opportunity to come out here and compete against these young competitors.
And he wants to race them, right?
Absolutely. He didn't come out here to run second, so I know Herschel's going to be out there giving it all he's got.
And were you impressed that he played the national anthem for everybody on his trombone?
He was a lot better at it than I was in middle school. I had to choose an instrument to play in middle school. It was either trombone and clarinet. Sounded like a race car. You can make the same noise, so that's what I went with.
Here's Derrick with the pole sitter.
Well, Derrick Krause is on a roll here in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West. He won the opener at Kern County Raceway. He sits on the pole tonight, and he just came from driver intros. And you don't have many races here at this racetrack. It's a rough, worn-out track, but how are you going to get around here tonight?
Yeah, I feel like the main thing is just to keep the tires underneath you, and BMR brought me a really good Napa Auto Parts number 16 Toyota Camry, so that helps a lot, just to unload really fast, and that's what we did this weekend.
It's a sprint race, pretty short, not as long as the races that we've seen in the past. So is the plan to get up on the wheel and go, or is there any type of conserving tonight?
Yeah, you're gonna have to conserve your tires a lot, I feel like, just with the abrasive surface that it does here. So I think you're gonna see a lot of riding around on the bottom of the racetrack, and that's what I'll do in the beginning of the race.
Well, he won the season-ending race last year. He won the season-opening race this year, and Derrick Krause is hoping for 3 in a row.
Dave, Derrick Krause is an ultra-aggressive young driver. We've seen him win that race at Kern County. It'll be interesting to see how him and his team really play out and execute this race, because it is going to be important for him to save his tires.
We've heard from the oldest in the field, Herschel McGriff, at 90. We've heard from the youngest, Derrick Krause, at 16, and we're ready to go racing at Tucson. K&N Pro Series Racing on NBCSN is brought to you by K&N High Flow Air Filters and Air Intake Systems, because everyone loves that fast car smell. Back at Tucson Speedway for the Port of Tucson Twin 100 race number 1 on a very hot Cinco de Mayo. There is the starting field rounding this very circular track, Brandon.
Yeah, Tucson Speedway is a really tough short track. It's really wore out, really wears on those tires, so it's going to be interesting to see the different strategies, who decides to go and who decides to stay until the end of the race.
So is youth or experience going to win out tonight? Who should we watch, Derrick?
Well, if you're superstitious with numbers, let's take a look at third-place starter Cole Rouse in the number 99, who drives for Bill McAnally Racing. He ran the first race of the year at the New Smyrna Speedway with the E-Series, finished 3rd there. He ran the opener with the West Series, finished 3rd. Tonight, he starts 3rd. He's hoping that number 3 is the charm to try to win here tonight at Tucson.
I think it's always okay to go with the 3 in NASCAR, right?
Absolutely. Dale Earnhardt all the way.
You take what you can get, and these guys in the front row have done a good job qualifying. Derrick Thorn on the outside in a Brucati car. Cole Rouse, Cody Vander Waal in row number 2. Vander Waal with lots of laps at this track. Should be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I know he's always run good here at Tucson Speedway. Also run well at Colorado Nationals. So it'll be interesting to see if he can take over that lead here in the early going.
Will Rogers in a new ride in the number 4. And Herschel McGriff, there he is, the 04 on the outside of row 9 at 90 years old. Green about to come out for the first of 2 races tonight at Tucson Speedway. Buddy, one of the reasons people like Tucson is they like the racing lanes. 2 or 3 of them, and we're already seeing it.
The first time I came to this racetrack, you show up and walk around this racetrack, like I mentioned earlier, it's shaped a lot like a circle. It's wore out all the way across that racing surface, but there's definitely 3 lanes of racing as we see these guys already battling 2 and 3 wide.
Cody Vander Waal in the 43 car to the high side. Cole Rouse in the 99 down below. And right behind them, Ryan Partridge in the Ford number 9.
Ryan Partridge won the race back here in 2016. A lot of guys in that race, I remember, thought he was going to wear out his tires by going too early, but it paid off for him because he was able to break out to that early lead and take care of his tires. So I know he's going to be trying to make that charge towards the front here in the early going.
Well, I've got to wonder, this new Goodyear Racing radial for this series this year, Brandon, has shown a lot of durability. And we heard the pole sitter Krause talking about saving his tires, but have some drivers been too conservative on some of the tire-saving races?
I think so. I mean, I ran the race at Bristol Motor Speedway, and I really thought that we were going to have to save just a little bit to keep the right front tire on the car to make sure you had some grip in it later in the race. But these young guys, they proved me wrong. Kind of got my tail handed to me, ended up running 5th. But it was a good run for us. But like you mentioned, it's just, I think all these crew chiefs are trying to figure out air pressures. They're trying to figure out how hard they can be on that tire. And they're learning as these race weekends go by.
Top 5 all running together here. Derrick Krause, the pole sitter, in the Napa number 16, is still out front. Derrick Thorn is in the blue and orange 6, getting a nudge from Cole Rouse in the 99, and then Vander Waal and Partridge.
You'd be surprised as a driver down on that apron where you can see where it's not as shaded as the asphalt, almost that concrete surface. There's a lot of grip. You can go down in the corner, hook your left side tires underneath that white line, and it really helps your car rotate, especially if you're not rolling the center of the corner with the speed that you feel like is necessary.
Vander Waal riding that high line in the red 43. And it looks like he's going to make another pass here, going for third.
Yeah, Dave, and I think what we'll see as a trend of this race is whoever's riding, they're going to be on the bottom. Whoever's trying to progress and move forward, they're going to be moving up, being a little harder on their tires, trying to get that track position, and then get back down in line to protect those tires and make sure they have something towards the end of the race.
I see Matt Levine there in the white 10. He's raced here a lot, and he's trying that extreme high line now as Vander Waal gets second. And as you say, moving forward, going for the lead now on Kraus.
There he goes. He just rolls up to that right rear quarter panel of Derrick Kraus, takes over the lead. I'd be really surprised if we didn't see him drop back down to the bottom and try to protect those tires.
You heard Kraus say he was going to conserve, and now we see them going underneath the 04 of Herschel McGriff on that high line. By the way, his crew chief is his son, Herschel Jr., and he races here at Tucson and has won recently. And oh, by the way, his granddaughter, Mariah, also races here at Tucson. So it's a family sport from the McGriffs here at Tucson.
There's Cole Rouse going to that outside lane that we've been talking about, and he's going to dive back down in front of the 16, go back into tire conservation mode. But it's got to be tough to save those tires. Seeing Cody Vander Waal really link this whole entire field and put some distance in between himself and the second, third, fourth place guys.
Well, and Kraus and Rouse are hearing from their spotters and their crew chiefs, right? And Kraus just saw his teammate go by. He's like, I don't want to be this conservative, do I?
It's very tough to be disciplined as a young driver to keep those tires underneath you, that's for sure.
There we see Levine working the high side, another position trying to be gained by the veteran from right here in Tucson, Derrick.
Well, the number 10 of Matt Levine up on the high side is making it work for him. This is his home track. He only lives about 25 minutes away. The shop for the race car is just 5 minutes down the road. Matt Levine has thousands of laps here at the Tucson Speedway. He knows that be able to save your tires throughout the course of this race. He's been running up high, higher than anyone out there on the racetrack to try to make a wider arc, not to wear the tires out. And it's really working for him because he's been picking cars off slowly and working his way to the front.
You like that strategy?
It could go either way. I mean, the only thing that I see in this race as it develops is this is a 100-lap race. You're on a really wore-out surface, so it's such a fine balance. You don't have that 150-lap, 200-lap race to try to see if your strategy of conserving or going hard is going to pay off. So I think some of these guys are just on they're on a different agenda. It looks like Matt Levine to me running that outside groove, which can be a little harder on your tires. He's trying to get track position. He's seeing these laps, really tick by really quickly. So we'll see how this develops a little bit later. I won't be able to really know how well it's going to pay off until we see him either be able to stay up there at the end or if he's going to fall back.
Completing 20 or working 20 of 100 this time by. You see Port of Tucson on Levine's car. That is the family business. Started just across the street. Rail yard that gets the international shipments from the ports in California. They bring them here by rail, and then everything else goes east on trucks. It's been a really good business for them, and they're the presenting sponsor here tonight.
So great to see what Matt Levine and Ron Norman, his teammate, give back to the sport. They come out here week in and week out and with the race teams and really help the whole entire series and lifts it up with the car count and things like that. And they're ultra competitors. I know Matt Levine came out to Bristol and made a start out there, so it's really cool to see these racers come out here and support this series.
Second for Levine, and he'll see if he can reel in Cody Vander Waal. He leads them. We're just underway in Tucson.
What's up? I'm Haley Deegan. I drove the number 19 for Bill McAnally Racing. I started racing when I was 8 years old in off-road trucks, actually. Not many people come from that background, but I've won 4 championships since then, and it's been going good. I still race off-road trucks a little bit, but I'm focused on my stock car racing. I race some legend cars, late models, super late models, all of the above. Honestly, I see more of a career for me transitioning over from off-road to pavement, and I just see so much more for myself in stock car racing. I feel like that I have the ability to do it. Eventually, by midway through the season or so, I want to be the first Joe in my K&N race. There hasn't been one to do it, and I think that throughout time, I'll have the ability to do it. I'm Haley Deegan, and that's your NASCAR Next Gen Profile.
She sure is working with a good group in the Bill McAnally Racing stables, and I think that's a great place for any driver to get their start, Brandon.
Yeah, Dave. I mean, I talked to the people at Toyota, Jack Irving, and in the group that really supports the TRD, Toyota Racing Development Program, and I know they're really high on Hailie Deegan. She does a great job on and off the racetrack representing her sponsors. I think the biggest thing for her is just to keep her emotions in check and her goals in check as she goes, and I think she's done a good job of that. Just keep getting better, keep learning. Bill McAnally's behind her, Toyota's behind her, and with time, those top fives and wins will come.
So glad you could join us here at the Tucson Speedway. This is the K&N Pro Series West, Port of Tucson Twin 100, race number 1, 2 tonight. We'll bring them both to you. And 25 laps into the 100-lap feature, Cody Vander, you saw him, the 43, the red car, is out front. There will be no halfway competition break. This will be the only set of tires they use. They won't need to add fuel. So unless this there is a caution, Brandon, this thing's like a 100-lap sprint, depending on when you want to sprint on your tires.
Yeah, and I think Cody Vander has a really great strategy, as we're seeing not a lot of cautions or no cautions at this point to start out the race. He's got that gap on second place, and I think that's allowing him to be able to ride and really take care of his tires. So he's just, honestly, he's probably just really hard on him at the beginning, and now he's able to really take care of those tires as the race plays out.
The white car is Matt Levine. He runs in second, and then this group behind, third through sixth position. As you see, the pole sitter, the 16 of Derrick Kraust, has now dropped back to that spot.
Seeing the 99 car, Cole Rouse, starting to look a little bit free, running the middle right there. So basically, as a driver, you go down in the corner and you got to turn the wheel back to the right. That can be a really uneasy feeling. So it looks like Cole's struggling with that a little bit, just trying to keep those other cars pinned down below him.
See the 3 lanes of racing working at Tucson Speedway. Some are for position, some are not. Putting the 11 car of Takuma Koga a lap down. Also went by the 04 of 90-year-old Herschel McGriff. While they battle for position. Not easy to do.
And that's one of the positives of this racetrack. At least there is those 3 grooves. A lot of times we go to short tracks, running up on a lap car. It gets pretty hairy for some of those leaders trying to negotiate that lap traffic, but definitely a lot of room here at this speedway.
See the speeds around here for race leader Cody Vander, just a tick under 80 miles per hour. And of course, that falling off from the pole speed tonight as these tires wear.
Starting to see Ryan Partridge really open up his exits right there, unwinding his wheel, trying to get his momentum built up. This racetrack's really interesting. You know, you don't actually have to go all the way to the wall running down the straightaway, which is a lot different than most of the racetracks we go to. I think some of the fans look at it and like, well, a little bit of trouble there for Herschel.
Saved it.
But yeah, Dave, there's actually more grip in the middle of the racetrack down the straightaways. As you inch closer to that outside wall, even in the corners, it just seems like this racetrack really gives up a lot of grip and is a lot harder on your tires the closer you run up by the wall.
Further back in the pack, I'm not sure we've seen all we're going to see out of the 7 of Devin Dodson or the 22 of Trevor Huddleston. Huddleston, for the 3rd straight year last year, was a California state champion in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series and was runner-up in the national standings. So he's a shoe, getting another start with Bob Roncati.
And we got to give Devin Dodson a shout out. He's doing a really good job here tonight. I know racing for Jefferson Pitts Racing, they have a lot of experience here. They actually ran 1-2-3 back in 2015 with Noah Gregson, Grayson Raz, and Dustin Ash. So their equipment's definitely up to par and brings some really good race cars to the racetrack. So Devin having a really strong first performance here in the K&N West Series.
That was that black and red number 7. How about this? The big show is where this weekend? Dover, right?
That's right.
Oh, he's from there, so he travels 2,400 miles out to Tucson to get his first start in K&N.
He must not have looked at the schedule.
Didn't coordinate that maybe exactly the way he should have. Hey, Derrick has more on the 9 car of Partridge.
Ryan Partridge ran a modified here 2 weeks ago in preparation for this race, just to get used to his surroundings here at the Tucson Speedway. We welcome him back from 2016, where he finished 2nd in the points to Todd Gilliland. He started 6th at the drop of the green. He has worked his way up to the 2nd spot right now with no pressure from behind, and he hopes to bring home a really good finish for Bob Roncati here tonight, and as well as pick up some wins later in the season.
Derrick mentions 2016 for Partridge. We didn't see him at all last year. He was not able to supply NASCAR with all the proper things they needed to obtain a license, and so he sat out the season He is back this year, driving for Brancati again. And to me, Brandon, looks like he hasn't missed a step.
No, Dave, absolutely. I mean, Ryan Partridge, I remember racing against him in 2015. He's a racer. He works really hard on his race cars. I know Bob Brancati's always been his biggest supporter. I hate that what happened last year, him not being able to come out to the racetrack and be able to race in the NASCAR K&N West Series. But he's got it all together. He's coming out here, as Derrick mentioned, he got some seat time in that modified. That's really important for him to come here and have a good run and really show people that he deserves to be here because he is a really good young racer.
Watching his teammate there in the 6, Derrick Thorn, 32 years old, 32 that is, from Lakeport, California. And everything I read about Thorn is just like hard charger and hard to beat, and every time you get him on a track like this, he's going to be a contender.
Oh, he's bad to the bone. I've raced against Derrick, and he always does such a good job. I think what we're going to see over the course of the year is that leadership from Derrick Thorn and Ryan Partridge really pay off for Bob Brancati Racing, help those guys get their setups and their cars pointed in the right direction, and we're seeing it here tonight as they're running second and third in this race, and both really in the running to try to go up there and battle with Cody Vander Waal for the win.
Tucson, as hot as it was today, is very pleasant in the winter, and a lot of drivers get a chance to hone their skills on this track. In some of the late model events, it's famous for the Chili Willy 100. A number of the drivers were in that this winter. And then back in March, the season opener in super late models, Hailie Deegan was here, Trevor Huddleston was here, Cassie Gannis was on track, Vanessa Robinson, we haven't talked about her tonight. They were all here, and they all finished in the top 10. No substitute for seat time. There you see Gannis in the black and white number 08 going a lap down at this point. She's driving for John Wood and lives just up the road in Phoenix.
I think what we're going to see here, Dave, with just about 50 laps to go, we're closing in on that halfway mark, is our top 5 really start to make a charge to try to run down Cody Vander Waal, because I'm sure with this field being somewhat spread out right now, a lot of these crew chiefs and spotters are saying, hey, we might not get that caution, so you need to go up there, still take care of that right rear tire, but really try to make a charge to run Cody Vander Waal down to get that lead. I know a lot of them got to be praying for a caution right now, though.
Well, and Levine has to be wondering, back to 6th now. Did he put a little bit too much pressure on those radials to begin with?
Well, I know Matt has a ton of experience here. He's always run well, but I think that outside is just really takes a toll on those tires.
They're all chasing Cody Vander Waal, who's been dominant so far. Second race of the season for the K&N Pro Series West, and it's a twin bill 100 lappers here tonight. They both pay points. And if you play the trombone, your name might be Herschel McGriff or Brendan McReynolds. Herschel getting help there from granddaughter Mariah getting in the car tonight, and he's been racy, hanging in there with these youngins. Derek Kraus has been fast, but he faded back at the beginning, Brandon. Tire management has been the discussion.
Now you see Derek Kraus dropping down to the bottom. We've seen him run that lower lane all night long. I'm sure Eric Holmes' spotters really staying on him about protecting those tires, but it's time to go.
Cody Vander Waal, you saw the 43 car has taken command and continues to lead out here on a track he knows very well. Let's go to Derek.
Guys, this may be the best shot for that number 43 of Cody Vander Waal to take home a win tonight. Yesterday they tested here on old tires to get the car dialed in. He has tons of laps around this racetrack in a super late model, an outlaw late model, and also the trucks that they race here. He says running this car this year on these tires is a little bit different than what he's used to, but they spent a lot of the day getting that car dialed in and fast for Cody, and right now he's got a commanding lead over the rest of this field after starting 4th on the outside.
Now, Vander Waal is not from here. He's actually from Colorado, closer to the Colorado National Speedway. But the story goes that his dad, who's a racer, came down here in late 2016, was racing in something they called the turkey shoot. And that was actually a race, not a turkey shoot. And he was looking for something for Cody to drive. And he got into a pro truck of local hot shoe, Brandon Schilling. And the next thing you knew, he's winning the race. They purchased one of Schilling's late models, and the rest is history. Cody has been on a tear ever since.
Cody's one of the nicest kids that you'll meet in the garage area. I know he's worked really hard to get here, a lot like Ryan Partridge. They kind of remind me of one another, just being kind of old school racers. I know they're both young, but they have that really good work ethic. They put a lot of thought and time into their race cars and working with their team to get their cars better. It's no surprise to see those guys both running up front tonight.
Cody is 17 years old, and he leads this field of both youth and experience. There's part of the youth. That's the youngest driver in the field, Derrick Kraus, the pole sitter tonight, trying to figure out what to do now that he's fallen back, in this case, to the third position. Now, here's where you start to wonder. I saw the margin up above there, Brendan. 7 seconds behind leader Vander Waal is this car, the 9 of Partridge. You know, obviously they're thinking we could get a caution, but you can never count on one.
Well, the hard part that Ryan's going to have right now, Ryan Partridge in the 9, is Derrick Kraus is really starting to pick his tempo up, running the bottom of the racetrack, putting some pressure on the 9. So Partridge has no choice but to go ahead and start trying to move forward to run down the leader, Cody Vander Waal. It's just going to be tough. I mean, unless we get a late race caution, it's going to be very difficult for these guys to catch up because Cody's going to be able to save his tires with that big of a lead.
Partridge in the 9, a 4-time winner in the K&N West Series.
You can see Partridge running just a little bit higher in the middle of the corner, and the 16's really able to get his left sides below that line and get that good launch up off the corner.
And we've been talking all night about how those Goodyear tires will last or won't, depending on what you do, Derrick.
Tire management is going to be the name of the game tonight here at the Tucson Speedway. When we walked out on that track earlier, it is very rough. And after talking with the crews and the drivers, they said after 10 laps, the tires start to fall off dramatically. So the crew chief said the driver that can conserve his tires the best tonight is probably going to end up in victory lane.
You want to have a little something left at the end, just in case they have that quick run at the end, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what I'm interested to see. If we do get this late race caution, what's going to happen with the 43 Cody Vander Waal? I know he's had that big lead. He's probably able to conserve, but he was really aggressive at the start of this race. It'll be interesting to see how much tire he has left in the closing stages of this race.
Still a good battle between the 9 of Partridge, the 16 of Kraus.
And Partridge showed us right there, that's how tough it is to complete a pass. The 16 of Derrick Kraus is definitely better. He's rolling the middle of the corner. So right here, he's running the middle of the racetrack, just trying to find some grip somewhere else, because Partridge was really able to put his left side door down on the 16 to pin him down so he couldn't exit the corner.
He looks to the outside.
Yeah, if Kraus can just get to that right rear quarter panel, I think he'll be able to get his car turned to get that momentum up off. There you see him really trying to pin the exit of Ryan Partridge right there in the 9 car.
Will he complete it off of turn 2? Yes, the 16 will get second. That's Derrick Kraus, the high school sophomore, completing his sophomore year. Now, I know he's looking forward to summer and more racing. He'll be a good one to watch. Down to the inside of Ganis, the very inside of Koga in the 11.
Looks like he got held up just a little bit. It broke his momentum having to pass that lap traffic, allowed the 9 of Ryan Partridge to close up on his back bumper. But that 16's really fast right now as we can see him starting to gap Ryan Partridge.
30 to go. A few seconds behind leader Cody Vander Waal. Will there be a caution? These are the things we wonder as we watch. And as we watch Derrick Kraus now very fast in that 16.
And right here, Dave, this is where Derrick has to be really smart with his right rear tire. If he tries way too hard to run down a guy that he's probably not going to catch, with Cody Vander Waal entering turn 3, he's probably not going to get there, and B, if a caution does come out, he might have been too hard on that right rear tire, not have any grip when they go back green.
There's Vander Waal in the red 43 down to the inside of Huddleston in the orange and blue 22. First time Cody sat in a late model last year. He won the race. More in his racing resume to talk about. And he's leading them here. Can he keep him behind him? Will there be a caution? It's going to happen with less than 30 laps to go at Tucson in Twin 100 race number 1. Back with you at the Port of Tucson Twin 100 race number 1 that has gone caution-free the entire distance. 27 laps to go for that young man, the 17-year-old in the red 43. That's Cody Vander Waal. Started last season, didn't even expect that he'd run the whole season, but he did so well they kept him in a car. He completed the season, finished 9th in points, and this season is coming back strong after a disappointing start to the year. Looking good tonight so far.
Cody's had a commanding lead all night long. He's definitely had, the best car out there. It looks like he rolls the middle really well, has really good forward drive in his car. But I mean, unless these guys get a caution, he's got this one in the books. As long as he takes care of his fenders, keeps the tires on it, I just don't see any of these 3 cars being able to run him back down.
When you saw the white number 10 of Matt Levine getting lapped by Vander Waal, he was an early second-place runner. And we were concerned, you were concerned about that abrasiveness on the high side, and it looks like it's come true.
Chris Eggleston, when we came here in 2015, he really opened up my eyes to different lanes and really what that surface feels like. The very bottom of the racetrack, it's wore out, but it's a little bit smoother. That's where the majority of the cars have been running up to the middle lane. And then it really blends into an old surface like a Rockingham. It has that rock that sticks out of it, really wore out. So it's very inviting to go up there as a driver because you can carry a lot of momentum, but it just seems really tough on your tires as you run the outside.
Second, third, and fourth, 16, 9, and 6. Derrick, Ryan, and Derrick putting on a good show, racing underneath Herschel McGriff.
I'm surprised that Derek Kraus in the 16 car hasn't been able to gap Ryan Partridge a little bit more. We watched him pass him a few laps ago and just hasn't had that overall speed that he needs to run down Cody Vander Waal.
And you know they're hearing from their team now, 20 to go. What are you going to do? But what do you do with 7 seconds behind leader Vander Waal? That's almost impossible to make up at this point.
Yeah, this is definitely a 3-horse race for second place unless we get that caution. But these guys right now, I'm sure they have their tongue hanging out, racing as hard as they can, trying to find grip wherever they can. Derrick Thorn, it seems like he was able to save his tires a little bit more earlier on in the race, and we're seeing him run these guys down. We just watched him pass Ryan Partridge in the 9 car's teammate.
We know how badly all these drivers want to win each and every week, but for Kraus, if you consider he won the first race of the year at Kern County, he's got another one yet to run here tonight. So for championship thinking, Brandon, second place is not a bad place to be.
Well, especially tonight. We have another race coming up here in a little bit, so he has to be really smart with his race car. His team does not need to be unloading a backup car, going to work on it. That'll put you further behind than you could ever imagine. So for right now, this is a championship statement. Even though we're so early in the race, this is really important for Derek Kraus to show his competitors and his team that he can make good decisions, keep his fenders on it, and have a good points night if he doesn't have the car to beat.
Use that driver's side mirror. Make sure you know where the 6 of Derrick Thorn is as he challenges for second. He's going to hold him off on that one.
Derrick's really come on strong here in the late going. Derrick Thorn, that is. Running the 16 up, getting into his left rear quarter panel. That got a little dicey there with the lap car. But, yeah, Derrick Thorn, he's really come on strong here in the late race going. So it seems like he was just able to save his tires and do a good job, and he's just trying to make that bottom work right now.
At the end of 100 laps, NASCAR will throw the checkered flag. We'll see who that'll be for. And then they'll have 40 minutes to work on their race cars and get them ready to go back through inspection to get ready for the second 100-lapper here. And that'll take another 25 minutes or so. And we'll bring it to you right here on NBCSN.
It's a battle of the 2 Derricks out there on the track right now for position. The number 16 of Derrick Kraus, the sophomore. The number 6 of Derrick Thorn, the 2013 champion. They're both winners in this series. They both know how to get around this track. But right now, Thorn has the advantage on the bottom where he's taking the shorter distance, trying to keep the 16 of Derrick Kraus hung out with the longer way to drive around.
Pretty good way to make that pass, huh, Brandon?
That bottom's working really good tonight. Just being able to, I go back to it again, just being able to get your left side tires as low as you can. That's where the grip's at if you're going to run the bottom. Just really exciting racing here tonight at Tucson Speedway with all these different options. I can tell you from racing here, sometimes it gets a little confusing if you don't know what you're doing. And that night in 2015 when I raced here, I was terrible. I didn't know what I was doing.
That was before you had the conversation with eventual champion Eggleston, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Chris Eggleston, you bringing his name up is perfect. He gets around this racetrack better than almost anyone I've seen, and I think a lot of it has to do with his experience at Colorado National. We talked about Cody Vander Waal having some laps up at that racetrack, spending a lot of time racing here. They have a lot of similar characteristics, being really rough and wore out.
So you saw Levine now. There's the white number 10. He was lapped earlier by the leader. These drivers getting around him as well. Todd Souza in the blue and white 13 went a lap down just recently. So Vander Waal is picking him up and laying him down. Hailie Deegan in the 19. She's running in the 8th position, and the leader's about to go by.
I'm sure she's really hoping for that late race caution right now. Haley Dugan's doing a really nice job, has stayed on the lead lap, getting a lot of pressure from the leader, but if she can catch this caution, if there's going to be one, then that's really going to pay off, and she'll be right in the hunt of this thing.
8 to go, 7 this time by for Vander Waal. And that red 43 has just run so well tonight, and he's saved enough tire.
And this is where Derrick Thorn has to be really smart. With just a few laps left, he has a nice little cushion on Derek Kraus in the 16. He needs to really take care of his tires. I'm sure his crew chief's telling him. That way, in case we do get a caution, he's able to have that grip whenever we go back green. But right now, it looks like clear sailing for Cody Vander Waal in the 43.
Don't trouble. There may be the caution. There it is. Matt Levine is around in turn 3 and gets it, trying to get it refired, and he's gone.
I'm definitely going to get a phone call from Cody Vander Waal on Monday saying I jinxed him about this caution.
You'll get over it. Happens all the time. No, but I mean, how can you imagine 100 laps straight green? I mean, that is really hard to do on a short track like this, but everyone was doing it, especially with all the maneuvering Cody was doing to get through traffic.
Yeah, you got a lot of lap cars fighting for the same real estate. We mentioned the 3 different lanes of racing, which helps you negotiate some of that. But I think what happened was everything got strung out at the beginning. Everyone got spread out.
Top right of your screen, the white car in the middle is Levine, and he kind of gets squeezed out of there. Looks like he's racing with Takuma Koga there on the high side, who has been there all night. I think that's Todd Souza down on the low line. Indeed it was. They were racing together for position, and Levine got the worst of it. So that tightens things up just a little bit. Cody Vander Waal suddenly has all the competition just off of his back bumper at Tucson. Getting ready for a race restart at Tucson Speedway, the first one of the night after the first caution. And now Cody Vander Waal, who's been cruising out front, Brandon, has Derrick Thorn underneath. He's chosen the outside.
He's going to have to get the restart of his life right here. I mean, it's come down to everything. He's with a small budget team. He's been doing a great job, just really dominating this race all night long. But he has one of the best in the business lining up to his left of Derrick Thorn in that 6 car. It's going to be important not to spin his tires, but I think this is a good decision, choosing the outside for his restart. That way he can keep his momentum up and not get pinned down on the bottom.
And what's the right foot doing there to not spin your tires?
Clean them up as much as you got. Make sure and buzz them before coming to the line, and then hope that you can really work that pedal down right here coming to the green.
Here it is, 4 to go at Tucson. Can Vander Waal hang on? Will Thorn get the advantage?
He's just got to make sure that the 6 car, Derrick Thorn, doesn't roll up and get a fender on him right here and be able to run him up the racetrack. Really tight down in turn 3.
Good side-by-side racing. The 17-year-old on the outside. The 32-year-old on the inside. Will experience or youth win out? 1 lap to go for Cody Vander Waal.
I think the only way the 6 of Derrick Thorn's going to be able to get him is to run him up, getting down in turn 3, and try to take away that position from Cody Vander Waal.
Both giving each other a lot of racing room as the challenge for third behind them, but Cody Vander Waal at the line is going to win his first K&N Pro Series race.
We saw that momentum, Dave. Cody Vander Waal running the middle of the racetrack. He was able to throttle up, unwind his wheel, and really take advantage of that momentum coming to the checkered flag.
And I will say a fair but very good fight from Derrick Thorn right there. There is Cody Vander Waal, 17 years old, and he is already excited, putting that window net down and getting ready to celebrate in front of, I would say, his second home fans. He runs a lot down here, although he's from Colorado. He'll be more than happy to put your name on the hood there.
I was about to say, that was the first time I saw it. He's definitely going to have a lot of sponsors calling him up now after that really awesome win for Cody Vander Waal.
The family-owned team beats the Goliaths at Tucson. K&N Pro Series Racing on NBCSN is brought to you by K&N High-Flow Air Filters and Air Intake Systems. Because everyone loves that fast car smell. The red one was fast. In fact, I think that's the only all-red car in the field tonight. That was Cody Vander Waal, and he has won the first half of a twin bill here at Tucson.
Dave, this is a huge win for this young man. I mean, really, to this point, you work your whole entire life as a young man trying to break into victory lane, and this is what really puts his name on the radar in the NASCAR world.
Look at them celebrate. They are friends and family, and they're with Derrick.
Cody Vander Waal with his very first NASCAR K&N Pro Series West win. Congratulations. Tell us what you are feeling at this moment. Thanks, Derrick. This is incredible. I can't thank these guys enough. Jason has got brain. I don't know how he sets a car up like that. It was just absolutely incredible. Mike, Justin, Sean, Warren, Al for coming out and spotting. My dad, obviously. Hector. Just everybody and all my sponsors, Built Right Signs, LaSalle Oil, General Air, Warehouse Supply. Can't do it without them. I can't believe. Yeah, and Chris Wright for putting this on for us. Can't believe we're actually here. It's awesome. Take us back to the race. We had a long green flag run. Then late in the race, the caution comes out, putting a former champion on next to you for the restart. What's going through your mind? I knew I had the car to do it. I just had to keep myself calm and just get through all the gears, don't spin the tires, pin them down low, and it all worked out. Well, it all worked out for Cody Vander Waal. He finds himself in victory lane for the first time in his K&N Pro Series West career.
And only slightly out of breath, which is good because he's got another 100-lapper coming up.
Yes.
Always good to see a first-time winner in NASCAR.
Thank you all.
Now, there are a couple others that were close, including Vanessa Robinson with a top 5 run. Others who may have some adjusting to do at the break here, Brandon.
Yeah, Dave, there we see Cole Rouse in the 7th spot. Had a really strong start to this race. It's going to be interesting to see the changes that him and his Bill McAnally Racing team make to that car to help him in the second race.
Matt Levine recovered to finish 12th. Derrick Thorn was very quick tonight and finished 2nd.
Well, Derrick Thorn comes home with an exciting second-place finish. Was that last caution your only shot at Cody?
It was. It was a good opportunity for us to finally get one last chance at him. He had a pretty good sizable lead there, and he had a really good car beginning of the race. Seemed like it was falling off there on the long run, but that restart, we just didn't have quite enough to get back by him.
When you're on the bottom like that, is it hard to get that forward bite off the corner?
It is. You have all that wheel input into it, and our car was already borderline tight towards the end, so you got the extra wheel input into it, and the minute you touch the gas, it wants to snap around on you. So, of course, I was driving it for everything I had, and it was starting to get loose, and do everything it was. No, everything you don't want it to do, it was doing there when we were trying to pass the 43. But I can't thank these guys at Sunrise Ford enough. You know, we got one more tonight. Big picture racing. Wanted the win, especially when we're that close. But congrats to Cody. You know, he's run a good race. I think that's his first K&N win. So congrats to those guys, and can't thank these guys enough in the Sunrise Ford for giving me such a good car.
Derrick Thorn comes home in 2nd spot tonight, guys.
Former champion, and he's certainly got a shot at it this year as you look at the points. 2nd place, just 3 behind Kraus. And what about Vander Waal now in 6th? He wasn't even in the top 20 entering tonight.
Even though it's 2 different races, it's almost like a double points night. 200-lap races, and Cody Vander Waal, he can really cash in if he can be successful in this next race coming up.
Well, Ryan Partridge started 6th tonight, finishes 3rd in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West race here at Tucson. And was it a situation where when the leaders broke away, you couldn't make up the ground because the tires were wearing out?
Yeah, so that's one of those, strategic deals where we're all on different strategies and we're all just trying to play the tire game, and it works out for some, it didn't work out for others. It was kind of a unique deal because of this Twin 100. I think Vander Waal was definitely able to yard us, gap us, maybe knowing that everybody's going to play it nice because we got to save our cars for the second race. So that's kudos to him for knowing that he could probably go pretty much caution-free, which is exactly pretty much what happened. I mean, he definitely had to hold Derrick off on the last lap. It looked like they were having fun, but hats off to Cody, our Sunrise, Bob Rooncotti Sunrise Ford Fusion. It was okay. We started back in 6th, not quite as far forward as we would have liked. We had to cut off a lap in order to qualify for the second race, so we ran hard for 4 or 5 laps. Then we started settling in, running the bottom. It's a tough call because at one side you want to save tire, but the other, track position's valuable because when the tires are wore out come lap 75, nobody's going anywhere. It's still going to be hard to pass no matter how much tire you saved. So yeah, we just kind of rode where I think we needed to ride, and it kind of worked out at the end. 3rd it's better than 6th.
Ryan Partridge with the podium finish, Dave.
Well, Derrick, they've got a notebook to work with now for race number 2, which you're going to see right here on NBCSN coming up next. And, Brandon, that's kind of fun. You know what maybe you did wrong or adjusted wrong in the first half, but there's also potential that you make the wrong adjustment.
I know if I was getting ready for this race, I'd be talking to my crew chief and my spotter and really going over our strategy, saying we need to do what that 43 did. He had a really strong car, but we need to fire off with more speed and get our track position early.
The night began with Grand Marshal Ron Hornaday. Herschel McGriff played the national anthem for everybody. And then at age 90, started his final NASCAR race, a gift from Bill McAnally Racing. and it was fun to watch him. Now, he didn't win, but he stayed out of trouble, while Cody Vander put on a show in the red 43.
Really excited for that young man. I know he's got to be pumped up, and he's got all of his competitors scratching their head right now. How do we run down that red car of Cody Vander in this second race coming up?
You get the snacks, I'll get the drinks. Another one coming up here from Tucson, race number 2, when we return.